spiritual master. So we are begging blessings from Vaishnav Thakur. That is how we address the spiritual masters in the parampara. Okay. O he Vaishnava Thakura Doya Rasa Gaura Edase Karuna Kori. O he Vaishnava Thakura Doya Rasa Gaura Edase Karuna Kori. Diya pada chaya shodo he amaya tomara charana dhori. Chaya vega domi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga deho he amare bosechi sanger ashe. एकाकी अमर नहीं पाया बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने. तुम्हें कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने. कृष्णा से तुम्हार कृष्ण दीते पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे. आमी तो कंगाल कृष्णा कृष्णा बोली धाई तब पाछे पाछे. Krishna, Krishna. O he Vaishnava Thakura Doya Rasa Gora Edase Karuna Kori. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Next song is Ujjwal Varna. So this is glorification of Lord Chaitanya. Of the different transcendental form. So Lord has transcendental form, pastimes, qualities and names. So this is the glorification of Lord Chaitanya's form, name, qualities, his pastimes. Ujjvala Gauravardeham Vilasita Niravadhi Bhava Videham Ujjvala Gauravardeham Vilasita Niravadhi Bhava Videham Tribhuvana Pavana Kripayalesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Gad Gada Antara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tara Jananada Vishalam Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana Karana Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Arunam Bharadhara Charu Kapolam Indu Vinindita Nakhachaya Ruchiram Jalapita Nijaguna Nama Vinodham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladharam Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram Gati Ati Mantara Nitya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Chanchala Charu Charan Gati Ruchiram Manjira Ranjita Pada Yuga Madhuram Chandra Vinindita Shitala-vadanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Dhrita Kati Doraka Mandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam Durajana-kalamasha-khandanadandam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Bhushana bhuraja alakavalitam kampita bimbadhara vararuchiram. Malayaja virachita ujjvala tilakam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Nindita aruna kamala dalanayanam ajanulambita Shri bhujayugalam. Kalevara kaeshora narata kavesham tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Ujjvala-varana gauravardeham vilasita-niravadhi bhava-videham. Jaya Mahaprabhu, 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 Jaya Mahaprabhu. Now we will read from Sri Brahma-samhita. Brahma-samhita was a literature that was found by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his travels in South India. So we are very fortunate that we have a copy of that available. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to his personal associates and they wrote it down personally. At that time there was no printing press. So we are very fortunate that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given extreme elaborate translations and purports on this. Brahma-samhita is spoken by Lord Brahma. He is praying to Krishna, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is giving us so many details from the spiritual world. We'll read the Sanskrit, and if we have time, we'll read the translations. Let's start with the Sanskrit. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha Lakshavriteshu surabhirabhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasrashata sambrahma sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Venum kvanantam aravinda dalayataksham Barahavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Alola chandra kalasadvanamalya vamshi Ratnangadam pranayakeli kalavilasam Shyamam tribangalalitam niyata prakasham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Angani yasya sakalendriyavrittimanti Pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo Vayo rathapi manaso munipungavaanam Sopyasti yat prapadasimnya vichintya tattve Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ekopi aso rachayatum jagadanda kotim Yachaktirasti jagadanda chayaya danta Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yad bhava bhavita diyo manujastathaiva Samprapya rupa mahimasanayana bhusha Suktairyameva nigama prathitaistuvanti Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabhis Tabhirya eva nijarupataya kalabhi Goloka eva nivasatya khilatma bhuto Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ramadi murtishu kalani amena tishthan Nanavataram akarod bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramapumanyo Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti Koteshvashesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam Tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute Traigunya tad vishaya veda vitayamana Sattva-valambi parasattvam vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasa patmataya manasu Ya praninam pratiphalan smaratamupetya Leelayitena bhuvanani jayatyajasram Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Golokanamni nijadamni tale chatasya Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Teshu ते ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा। इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् संजायते न हि ततः पृथगस्ति हेतो यः शम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यः कारणार्णवजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदण्डसरोमकूपा आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर्महान् स इह यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। भास्वान् यथाश्म सकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यपि तद्वदत्र ब्रह्माय एष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनिधाय कुम्भा द्वन्द्वे प्रणामसमये स गणाधिराजा विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। अग्निर्मही गगनमम्बुमरुद्दिशश्च कालस्तथात्ममनसीति जगत्त्रयानि यस्माद्भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यच्चक्षुरेष सविता सकलग्रहाणां समस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेषतेजा यस्याज्ञया भ्रमति संभृतकालचक्रो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। धर्मोऽथ पापनिचया श्रुतयस्तपांसि ब्रह्मादिकीटपतगावदयश्च जीवा यद्दत्तमात्रविभवा प्रकटप्रभावा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्त्वेन्द्रगोपमथवेन्द्रमहो स्वकर्मा बन्धानुरूपफलभाजनमातनोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यं क्रोधकामसहजा प्रणयादिभीति Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai Sanchintya tasya sadrishim tanuma purete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parma Purusha Kalpatarvo Dhruma Bhumischintamani Ganamai Toyamamritam Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanam Api Vamshi Priya Sakhi Chidanandam Jyoti Paramam Api Tadvadasadyam Api Cha Sayatra Shirabdhi Sravati Surabhibhyascha Sumahan Nimeshardhakyo Vavrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samaya Bhaje Shveta Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokamitiyam Vidantaste Santa Shiti Viralchara Katipaye Atho Vacha Mahavishnur Bhagavantam Prajapatim Brahman Mahatva Vignane Praja Sarge Chachinmati Pancha Shlokim Imam Vidyam Vatsadattam Nibodhame Prabuddhe Jnana Bhakti Bhyam Atmani Ananda Chinmayi Udeti Anuttama Bhaktir Bhagavad Prema Lakshana Pramanaistat Sadacharaistadabhyasair Nirantaram Bodhayan Atmanatmanam Bhaktim Api Uttamam Labhet Yasya Shreyaskaram Nasti Yaya Nirvrittim Apnyuat Ya sadhyati mam eva bhaktim tam eva sadhayet Dharmananyan parityajya mamekam bhaj vishwasan Yadrishi yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi Kurvan nirantaram karma lokoyam anuvartate Tenaiva karmana dhyayan mam param bhakti michhati Aham hi vishwasya characharasya bijam pradhanam prakriti pumamsha Maya hitam teja idam bibharshi vidhe videhi tvamatho jaganti Ishvara parama Krishna sachidananda vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Iti Shri Brahma-samhita Sampurnam Hari Om Hari Bol. So, shall we do translations? Okay, we can get a mic. Maybe we'll read 5 each. From 529, I think. Yes, Mavi? Okay. Okay, I will. 529. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with this figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose 2 hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful, threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
Hare Krishna. Okay. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor of thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the same primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, a Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities. In the company of her confidants, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of the hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., and his subjective portions. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is the absolute, substantive, principal being, the ultimate entity in the form of the support of all existence, whose external potency embodies the threefold mundane qualities, is sattva, rajas, and tamas, and diffuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. Lowest of all is located Devi Dharma, mundane world. Next above it is Mahesha Dhamma, abode of Mahesha. Above Mahesha Dhamma is placed Hari Dhamma, abode of Hari. And above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with whose will Durga conducts himself.
Just as milk is transformed into curd by the actions of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as or not different from its cause via milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, it is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. Brahma, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Shesha, replete with the all-accommodating potency, and reposing in the causal ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hairs, enjoys creative sleep, yoga nidra. Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of the hairs of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of the later, Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of portion. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separate subjective portion, Brahma, receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world. Just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names of Suryakanta, etc.
I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesh upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head, in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress of the three worlds. The three worlds are composed of the 9 elements, namely fire, earth, ether, water, air, direction, time, soul, and mind. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and into whom they enter at the time of the universal cataclysm. The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities. Of all those who walk in the path of work, in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name of Indragop than in that of Indra, king of the Devas.
Would you like to read?
I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, the meditators of whom, by meditating upon him under the sway of wrath, amorous passion, naturally friendly love, fear, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service, attain bodily forms befitting the nature of their contemplation. I worship that transcendental seat known as Shveta-dipa, whereas loving consorts, the Lakshmis in their unalloyed spiritual essence, practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the gem, the purpose gem. All water is nectar, every word is a song, every gate is a dance, the flute is the favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty, where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away, or even for the space of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloku, only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. On hearing those hymns containing the essence of the truth, the Supreme Lord Krishna said to Brahma, Brahma, if you experience the inclination to create offspring by being endowed with the real knowledge of the glory of Godhead, listen, my beloved, from me to this science set forth in the following 5 slokas.
When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, bhakti, super excellent, unalloyed devotion characterized by love for Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of spiritual evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. These preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conductive to the realization of loving devotion. Loving devotion, than whom there is no superior well-being, who goes hand in hand with the attainment of the exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we will go to the next part of the program, which is Srimad-bhagavatam class. So we can set up the asanas here, and we'll start. Our speaker is here. His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we'll sing Krishna kirtan. Actually, thinking. Who will sing Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Daya Karo More. There are so many good songs, sometimes it becomes difficult to select which one to sing. That is the beauty of spiritual world. There is variety. It's not mundane where you have only 1-2 songs to relish. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur decided, he is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. When class is not started yet. So he said that we should start a newsletter and it will be published every day. So his disciples said, every day you will publish. What is there to publish every day? What will you write every day? So then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said that in mundane world, the small earth, they are printing twice a day, every day. And we are talking about spiritual world. It's unlimited. So he said there is so much to write about Krishna. And personally I have seen, whenever I have to give talks, especially in, let's say, universities, something where, indirect sort of thing, I always wonder what should not much things. Leadership, management, life lessons. What else to cover? But when it comes to Krishna, so many pastimes. Just reading Srimad-bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita will take your entire lifetime. So just when I was deciding the song, bhajan, which bhajan to sing, I was just contemplating on that. Thank you, Kautukan Prabhu, to cover initial part. When I was driving, I was coming to the class, I was actually confused whether I'm running late or I'm reaching early. Because on the internet it was mentioned 8:15. So while I was driving, I was already prepared that I will start Brahma-samhita, then I'm going to... And then Manjari said, Brahma-samhita already started. It's ending now. I was wondering, am I reaching late or early? So anyways, thank you Prabhu for covering that. Thank you everyone for coming. It's a long weekend, so you had a lot of options to go out and had some good reset. But you all chose to come here to hear about Krishna. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. We'll sing this bhajan. Actually, we are not going to read Srimad-bhagavatam today. We'll discuss some parts of it definitely. We'll read more towards Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a very sweet scripture. Gaur Purnima is coming. So first I was thinking I will speak on something on Srimad-bhagavatam because it's a Bhagavatam class, but somehow my mind again was forcing me. So we'll discuss something on Chaitanya Charitamrita. This will be from 6th chapter. It is Gopinatha Acharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Samvad. Conversation between the two great personalities. We'll discuss about that. Very sweet conversation from 6th chapter of Madhya Lila. And it's interesting because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has just reached Jagannath Puri. So if some great personality just comes, enters the place, all eyes are there. What is going to do next? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's pastimes comes into picture. So, okay, we'll discuss that later. First we'll do this sweet kirtan. This kirtan, this bhajan is sung in Mayapur early morning every time. And if you have not been to Mayapur temple, if you have some other plans next year to go, instead you can make this plan of going to Mayapur. First time when you see the deities and this bhajan starts playing in the back, it's an experience. So I just thought maybe we'll sing this bhajan. Can we actually first read the translations and then we can... Thank you. Oh, sorry, Mataji is there, no? Okay, sorry. Okay. Everyone can, one we can volunteer and then we can start.
My dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds?
Yes. Prabhu, you want to read?
Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned, fallen souls, but I assure you that you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first.
My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you, because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy.
My dear Advait Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me.
O Svarupa Damodara, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya, O six Goswamis, Sri Sanata Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami. O Lokanatha Goswami, my beloved spiritual master, I pray for your mercy also.
O Srinivasa Acharya, successor to the six Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottama Dasa always desires the company of Ramachandra Chakravarti.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Doya Koro More Toma Vina He Dayalu Jagat Samsare Toma Vina He Dayalu Jagat Samsare Jagat Samsare Patita Pavana Tava Avatara Mosama Patita Prabhu na pai beara Mosama Patita Prabhu na pai beara
Sukhi. Mahaprabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripavalokana karo ami bado dukhi. Daya karo Sitapati Advaita Goshai. Daya karo Sitapati Advaita Goshai. Tava kripa bale pai Chaitanya nitai. Tava kripa bale pai Chaitanya nitai. Mahaswarup Sanatana Tu Paragunatha. Mahaswarup Sanatana Tu Paragunatha. Bhattacharya Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha. Bhattacharya Shri Jiva Bhattacharya Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha. Daya karo Shri
We will do Mangalacharan prayers. Mangalacharan prayers. That's all. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामी नामिने नमः। विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते। सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी विशेषण्यवादी पार्श्वदेशधारिणे गोकतविवाचां गुणां गायते गिरं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनदारणं। Hare Krishna. Okay. So we will recite one more Mangalacharan prayers. That is whenever we read Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can repeat after me. We'll sing it 3 times. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। hearing you all, it feels like anytime you all can get to go to sleep. It's morning time. And we are going to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said in Krishna Bhakti sometimes, fake it until you make it. You have to be enthusiastic. At least you have to show enthusiasm. Anyways, Mataji, can we do advanced view of... Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, as we started, I gave a small introduction before the bhajan itself, that it's going to be a very special discussion between Gopinatha Acharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. If you see in today's world, most of us get inspired in Krishna consciousness because we saw someone else coming into Krishna consciousness. And we look up to that person, and seeing him, we decide that we also want to come into Krishna consciousness. Once in Radha Gopinath temple, Radha Gopinath, here only Gopinath Prabhu is. Radha Gopinath temple, once the speaker was asking that various reasons for why someone took up devotion, Krishna consciousness. So some were giving some different reasons, some were giving some different reasons. And some of them gave the reason that, my friend is from IIT, so seeing him, I also took up Krishna consciousness. Some told, because I saw one person who is in another reputed college, or an actor, he was talking about, like for example, Will Smith recently was talking on Bhagavad Gita, and it got viral. Everyone was sharing. See, Will Smith is talking on Bhagavad Gita, right? Yad acharati sheshtas tatta devet arjuna. We have read in Bhagavad Gita. So after that, then everyone was giving their own reasons why they took up Krishna consciousness. Finally, the speaker asked in the audience. He did a poll, and he said, "How many of you have come into Krishna consciousness because of this reason?" Some people raised their hands. Then he asked for that reason, different reasons. Some asked about prasadam, some said like that. Prasadam, many of them raised hands for Gopinath's halwa. Can you imagine? Yeah, just by eating that halwa, they said we came into Krishna consciousness. My connection is also similar, but anyways, other time we can discuss that. So everyone has different reasons. And then finally he asked, how many of you have come because you have seen someone else whom you had a lot of reverence for that person, and seeing him or her into Krishna consciousness, you decided to take up Krishna consciousness. And majority of the people who took up because of that reason was because of taking someone else. Someone else had taken Krishna consciousness. Seeing them, they took up Krishna consciousness. And if you see Srila Prabhupada also, when he was preaching in India, he realized that nobody is listening to his message. The message was same about Krishna Bhakti, but nobody was so interested. But when he went to America, or when he came to America, and when he spread this message of Krishna consciousness, and when he came back to India, or went back to India, everyone was following him, right? Why? Because people have this thinking of we should look up to the Western world, and Western world is thinking that we should look up to Indian. So there is always this cycle. So when we see someone else whom we have a lot of appreciation for, right, then we feel that we also want to take up Krishna consciousness. Like for example, I have given this example a lot of times. My personal experience when I went to Singapore for a retreat, and I was given a room, and there all the richest people were staying in that room. Everyone was given a lot of different rooms, and we were all sharing. And luckily, I was put into a room where there were heads of APAC from Deutsche Bank, and some were CTOs of some other technology companies. So just seeing them taking up Krishna consciousness, I also feel inspired. These guys can take up, then we should also take up Krishna consciousness. So here, that's what is shown. What is shown is the highest scholar. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is considered as one of the highest scholar who knows the entire Vedanta. We take years, and whenever you go to book distribution, when we try to give Bhagavad Gita, the first thing sometimes they ask is, do you have Vedas? Right? They will ask this question, do you have Vedas? As if they are going to read the entire Vedas. But he will ask this question. Even in fact, in London, there is a book. I think it is compiled by devotees of London there. The book name is Vedas. It's because to lure such people who are looking for Vedas. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had the highest knowledge when it comes to Vedanta, and he had a lot of pride on that, right? So there might be some intellectuals who would be looking up to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as the best scholar, and when they see that he took shelter under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should also take, right? Banta, I mean, we should take then Krishna consciousness. So that is one of the reasons why as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in Jagannath Puri, first thing he does is he liberates Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He is showing to the world that even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who considers himself as the highest scholar, Vedanta scholar, even he is ready to take Krishna consciousness. You see in Bhagavad Gita, who is asking the questions? King is asking the question. It's not like some person who is suffering, not able to complete his mortgage, and he's asking Krishna, what should I do? My mortgage is still pending. I mean, he's the king. He knows. I mean, he can easily defeat the Kauravas. But that personality is asking, because why? Live like king size. We all want to become kings of our own ways. Right? When we see Arjuna, who is the king, he is asking Krishna questions. Then you say, if he is asking Krishna questions and Krishna is answering, and then his heart is transformed, something is there. Srimad-bhagavatam we see. I mean, most of the stories, if you see in Srimad-bhagavatam, it's all about kings. Parikshit Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. I mean, it goes on and on. In fact, if there is no king, then I don't know if there is Prithu Maharaj. There is continuously, it's all kings. Why? Because we look up to. One of the things that we look up to is someone who is very, very wealthy. Right? Someone who is very, very beautiful, handsome. And Kshatriyas have these qualities, opulence, right? They're intelligent also. Why it is shown, one of the reasons is because people look up to them, and when they take up Krishna consciousness, we also feel that inspiration that we also want to take Krishna consciousness, right? So, Bharat Maharaj, see, I mean, the list goes on and on. It's all about kings who have taken Krishna consciousness. So, and same thing is Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are mentions of various kings who are extremely humble in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although they are kings, but they are extremely humble in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Second thing, this story of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, just to give a background, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was, as we mentioned earlier, he was a Vedanta scholar. Vedanta is considered as the Veda Anta, conclusion of all the Vedas. And once who knows the conclusion of all the Vedas is considered to be a great scholar. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he approached Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this pastime is showing that he had some baggage. He had the baggage of impersonalism. He had his own understanding of Vedanta or of highest teachings. He had his own understanding. With that baggage, he was approaching Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is none other than Krishna himself. So here another thing is shown is we will have our own baggages when we approach Krishna. Right? In Bhagavad Gita it explained that there are 4 kinds of baggage people sometimes have. Right? One baggage can be of, I have diseases, please help me. Oh, Krishna will say, no, first take up Krishna consciousness. So first, disease has to be fixed. Right? Some people might have baggage of, I want to earn more. Right? Like that, there might be different baggages. Arjuna had a baggage. Arjuna had a baggage that, I'm fighting against my own relatives. I need to have compassion. Whom will I show this wealth if nobody is there to enjoy with? Imagine you are in the island alone with millions of dollars. Wow. No, right? You want to enjoy it with someone. What will you do alone, having that much money? Right? So Arjuna also had a baggage. He was compassionate. He was showing compassion. So he thought that he has his own reasons to convince Krishna that why he should not fight. Right? With that baggage, he approached Krishna. But then Krishna had his own plans, right? Similarly, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with a baggage of impersonalism, right? But then that baggage was completely destroyed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? There are a lot of things that we can learn from this entire pastime, just before even starting. Another thing is, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was ready to hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, if you see the entire story, we'll discuss a little bit. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not from the highest degree of sannyas. There are various degrees of sannyas, and he had taken sannyas from Bharti, Keshav Bharti, and from Puri Sampradaya. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought that he has taken from not from so highest. So, after I teach him, he can take up the highest, he can get highest degree of sannyas, right? But still he was ready to hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on, right? That humility was there. So that mood of Shravanam was there. Even if after knowing that I am the greatest scholar, that's what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had the baggage, that I am the greatest scholar. But still he was ready to hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we see that the importance of Shravanam, so important. I have said this story many times. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was giving a class. And one person just entered the class while Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, and he was giving class, and one person came. He offered dandavats to Radha Krishna, and after offering dandavats to Radha Krishna, he saw the class happening, and he was leaving. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur asked, "How was your eye massage?" This person was completely confused. Eye massage? I came to take darshan of deities, Radha Krishna. Then Bhaktisiddhanta again said, "How was your eye massage?" So he was completely baffled that what do you mean by eye massage? I'm not here to have some eye massage. And then he said that you are coming here to see Krishna, but you have no taste in hearing about Krishna. Your class is going on. We are talking about Krishna Katha. You could have that inspiration or just that attachment to Krishna, that okay, your class is going on, some Krishna Katha is going on, why not have some Shravanam? So then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said that how was your eye massage? Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was very, very strong on hearing. Once he chastised Srila Prabhupada also, our Srila Prabhupada. Once he was giving a class in Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada was sitting and he was hearing. And then one of his godbrother, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's disciple, called Srila Prabhupada in the middle of the class. And now, even mobile calls us in the middle of the class. But that time it was not, class means complete focus. So one disciple just called Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada just looked back. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur got extremely angry. And he said, "If you think you know more than me, then why don't you come and sit and give class?" He was so strong. Obviously, he knew Srila Prabhupada is a great Vaishnava. He in fact said in many places that this Abhay Babu, he likes to hear. He likes to hear. There is a pastime where Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came to Vrindavan to give series of lectures, and all his disciples went to take darshan of the deities. But Abhay Babu or Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he sat there and he was hearing from Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So that chastisement was more like to teach others importance of hearing. And Srila Prabhupada himself gave a lot of importance to hearing. Here also we see in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's case that he was very eager to, he was eager to hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even after knowing that he is the greatest scholar. Other thing that we learn from this pastime is that it is said, right, every sinner has a future and every bhakta has his past. Right? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we might think, oh, he's a Vedanta scholar, but he has no taste for Krishna. Right? We might condemn that. But then we see later on in the pastime, he becomes so eager. In fact, he converts in one verse only from Srimad-bhagavatam. Anyways, we'll see that. But we see that entire transform of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya from complete Mayavadi to a complete Bhakta, a pure devotee of the Lord. So we understand this also, that every sinner has a future and every bhakta has his past. So, yeah. Another thing that we'll see is why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got the mercy is because he had a devotee who was ready to guide him. He got the mercy of a devotee. And who was the devotee? Gopinatha Acharya. See, name is there. So I'm already keeping the hints. Gopinatha Acharya. How many of you have come into Krishna consciousness just seeing the Lord and no connection with any devotee? Very rare. Very rare, right? Even if we have accepted some books, it is because of Srila Prabhupada's books, right? Each one of us have come into Krishna consciousness because of some Vaishnava's mercy. Someone has prayed for us very strongly. Someone has prayed for us. There is one devotee, whenever he chants, he starts chanting his morning japa. He told once. So whenever he goes for book distribution, and he sometimes writes down the names of devotees who are, who might take up Krishna consciousness, or whose heart is very soft, because heart needs to be soft. We'll see that for taking up Krishna consciousness. So whoever he sees, he takes out their names, and while he starts his morning japa, he keeps those entire list in front of Krishna, and then he chants, just praying for them that they can take up Krishna consciousness. Right. So here also we'll see Gopinatha Acharya. He'll chastise Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is the best scholar considered that time. So, but still, it was because of Gopinatha Acharya's mercy that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually takes up Krishna consciousness. So there are a lot of things that we can learn from this entire pastime. And today, there are many sections in this chapter. One of the famous section is obviously Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we will be discussing Gopinatha Acharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. If you see, Jagannath Puri can be considered as the University of Vraja Prem. Why University of Vraja Prem? Jagannath Puri is very special. Jagannath, who is Krishna himself, so he has come with intense separation from Srimati Radharani. Jagannath is Krishna who has intense separation from Srimati Radharani. And Krishna is coming as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is coming as Srimati Radharani with intense separation from Krishna. So Jagannath is there who has intense separation from Srimati Radharani, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Srimati Radharani, who has intense separation from Krishna. And they both, as soon as Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in Jagannath Puri, first he goes to Jagannath temple. As soon as he sees Jagannath, he faints. Why? Because, imagine actor, a hero who has intense separation from his counterpart, and heroine has intense separation from the hero. Suddenly they are meeting. There will be fireworks. So similarly, Krishna, intense separation from Srimati Radharani, and Srimati Radharani, intense separation from Krishna. They are suddenly meeting. So it's the highest form of love. So Jagannath Puri, that's why it's considered as the highest form of devotion. University of Vraja Prem. In such universities, there will be different classrooms. Right? So what are two different classrooms? One is private classroom, which happens in Gambhira, right, in Kashi Mishra's house. And then there is public classroom, where it happens in Jagannath temple itself, right, when lady who climbs on top of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches. Right? So we see that it's like temple, Jagannath Puri itself is like a biggest university of Vraja Prem. And various teachers are there. Ramananda Rai. And what is the prerequisite? If you want to enter masters, the prerequisite is you have to give GRE or GMAT. The prerequisite to enter the Vraja Prem is there should be no impersonalism. First thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does in Jagannath Puri, the first pastime he does is he liberates Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He's trying to show that the first thing that one has to destroy in order to enter Vraja Prem is have no impersonalism. No impersonalism. And that is why that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's samvad is there. Right? And that same impersonalism can happen for a devotee to any other living entities also. Right? Someone who is suffering, a devotee is someone who is suffering, he feels intense compassion. Lord Shiva, there is a pastime where Lord Shiva, there is a prayer it's said in Srimad-bhagavatam, tappente loka tapena, where Lord Shiva, as soon as he saw poison, he felt that he has to consume that poison, otherwise his entire world will get destroyed. So he was ready to take poison just for the world's benefit. Intense compassion. Right? So same thing here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing that intense some compassion has to be there. So basically, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he comes in Jagannath Puri, he is there in Jagannath Puri, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he enters Jagannath temple, he sees Jagannath, and as soon as he sees Jagannath, what he does? He suddenly faints. Just seeing Jagannath, because of the intense separation, seeing Jagannath, he faints. And then everyone is thinking, what happened? And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya comes, and he sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glowing with effulgence. And that is the symptom of Krishna Bhakti, that you are glowing with effulgence. If you have pure devotion. Once Amog Leela Prabhu was giving a class online class, obviously after COVID. It's all online now. So he was giving the online classes, and there was question answer round. And one person asked him, I think he was a new person or something, he asked him that, what is the secret behind your effulgence of your face? So in Hindi he asked that, this beauty, what is the secret behind your beauty of the face? And then he said, he's from Delhi, so he said, oh, Bangdu. He said like that. That's how he said. He said, it's because of the 10 rupee soap that he uses. It's simple, it's just a simple soap, but then he said it's because of the Krishna Bhakti. And then he said that it's not just me. If you see all the brahmacharis in our temple, Amog Leela was saying, it's much more, they are much more effulgent than me. And then he said, it's because of that Krishna Bhakti. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord himself, right? The epitome of Krishna Bhakti. And he was glowing with effulgence. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw that, and he said, he is not an ordinary person, right? We see him when Vaisheshika Prabhu enters, right? So he said, this is not an ordinary person. He is definitely a Mahabhagavat. He is devotee of the Lord. That's what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was thinking. He is a devotee of the Lord. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told whoever came to, because he suddenly fainted. So he came. So they all came to see him. And then he said, don't worry. I'll take care of him. I'll take him to my house. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was lying there by the time Nityan Prabhu and all others came to Jagannath temple to search for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they saw, where is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is not here. Where did he go? And then some of the visitors who had come, they said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly fainted. And there was one guy, they explained who he was looking like. And then Gopinatha, they concluded that looks like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has taken him. So then they all went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, what he did is, he welcomed them and he asked them to do some kirtan. Now he is a Vedanta scholar, hard-hearted, but because of that Sukruti he had got, because of inviting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house, he got that Sukruti, and then he also offered prasadam to everyone. Lord Jagannath's prasad. He said, today we'll have Lord Jagannath's prasad. We'll all have together. So as soon as they all had prasadam of Lord Jagannath, they all had a roaring kirtan. And then after that, there was a discussion between Gopinatha Acharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now we'll read that entire section from verse number 67. So till now, whatever was heard was an introduction. Now the movie starts. The discussion between Gopinatha Acharya and Sarvabhauma Acharya. What we'll do is maybe each one of us can read 5 verses, and then we can read the translation as well. Okay. Actually, before that, I'll tell one more thing, then we can start. There is a very the transformation of in the life of Sarvabhauma Acharya is great. We'll see. We are not going to read that section, but I'll just read before starting this. Sometimes it happens that in a movie, the climax is shown first, and then the movie starts. So here also, Sarvabhauma Acharya's heart transformed so much that he couldn't hear the word mukti. He just couldn't hear the word mukti. One day, after the entire pastime where Sarvabhauma Acharya's heart transformed after this incident, after talking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Acharya, once he decided that he will read something to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, something from Srimad-bhagavatam. And then he started reading a verse from Brahma's prayers in Srimad-bhagavatam, which comes in 10th canto, 14th chapter. Mataji, can we go to that verse 10, 14, 8? After this section, we will read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. So this is the verse that Sarvabhauma Acharya was trying to read to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And while he was reading, he purposely changed one of the words. He changed Vedanta only. Summary, Srimad-bhagavatam is considered as a summary of Vedanta. So he transformed one word only because he couldn't tolerate that word. We'll see this. So these are prayers by Brahma. Tatte nukampan susumekshamano. Te nukampa susumekshamano. Bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Ridvagvapurbhir vidadhan namaste. Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhag. Sweet. We'll do again. Tatte nukampan susumekshamana. Bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Ridvagvapurbhir vidadhan namaste. Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhag. Such amazing poetry, right? Who will like to hear Hollywood and Bollywood, right? It's so soothing. So, the translation. My dear Lord, Brahma is saying this. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart, word and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Can we go up? To the verse. So while Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was trying to recite this verse to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the last line, Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. So what he does is, instead of saying Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak, he couldn't see the word mukti. Mukti means liberation. He comes from the studies where mukti is everything. From there, now he couldn't tolerate mukti. And he uses the word, instead he says bhakti. So he said, Jiventa yo bhakti padaya sadaya bhak. So Chaitanya said, hey, some mistake. Something's wrong. Again. So he said, Jiventa yo bhakti padaya sadaya bhak. So Chaitanya obviously internally he was smiling, but externally he said, hey, what are you doing? Changing the meaning of changing the word only, changing the verse. So then he says, very beautifully, then he says that Mukti shabde kahite man hoya green tras, bhakti shabde kahite man hoeta ullas. He says that Mukti shabde kahita man, that just by hearing this, speaking this word out, Mukti shabde kahite man hoye Grinatras, that my heart is getting transformed into fear and I'm not happy. Just hearing the word mukti. But then he says, Bhakti Shabde Kahite Mana Hoeta Ullas. So just by hearing the word bhakti, speaking the word bhakti, I'm getting a lot of joy. He is a person who used to just say mukti. For him, mukti was everything. But now he's not able to even utter the word mukti. Right? So this is a complete transformation in the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. From a person who was completely, his goal of life was liberation, to now his goal of life is to just serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Complete transformation. Right? Actually, let's read that section. Mataji, can we go to, I think 275 after that, that section comes. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, same chapter. Just search for 275. No, keep it advanced view, Mataji. 275. Just search for 275. Yeah, so, yeah, here it comes. Actually, can you scroll down? Scroll down. Yeah. Mukti Shabde Kahite Man Hoye Grinatras. This is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saying. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked that, man, why are you changing the meaning? Bhakti Shabde Kahite Man Hoyeta Ullas. So he's saying the very sound of the word Mukti immediately induces hate and fear. He is the first person who used to love Mukti, 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 you know. I mean, but now he's feeling, it feels like inducing hate and fear. But when we say the word Bhakti, we naturally feel transcendental bliss. So now after hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he feels very joyful. He feels very joyful. And just by this incident, people start understanding that he is Krishna. Why? Because someone who can change the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that means he is Krishna. Right? We see, right, sometimes we see someone who is extremely low grade and his heart is getting transformed. And then you see, hey, Krishna consciousness work karta hai. It works. Right? When we see in America, when Srila Prabhupada came and he transformed hippies into happies, you think, hey, this works, man. This formula works. Right? So similarly, here also at the end they will say, hey, this formula works. He is Krishna. We'll see. Can we scroll down? Yeah, we'll read this till they become happy and they understand that he is Krishna. Shuniya hasena Prabhu anandita mane Bhattacharya koila Prabhu drida alingane. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is alingan, he is embracing. Upon hearing this explanation, the Lord began to laugh. And with great pleasure, immediately embraced Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya very firmly. He is so happy that he is transformed. Yeah. Yei Bhattacharya pade padaya mayavade tanra aiche vakya sphure Chaitanya prasade. Indeed, that very person who had been accustomed to reading and teaching Mayavad philosophy, he was completely into Mayavad philosophy. We'll see there are 4 kinds of Brahmavadis. One of them is Mayavadis. We'll see other 3 also. Was now even hating the word Mukti. He couldn't even tolerate the word Mukti. This was possible only by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these people are saying now. Who were there. Loha ke yavat sparshi hema nahi kare tavat sparsha mai keha chinite na pare. As long as it does not turn iron into gold by its touch, no one can recognize an unknown stone to be a touchstone. Bhattacharyera Vaishnaveta dekhi sarva jana prabhu ke janila sakshat brajedrananana. So just by this incident of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya changing the word, everybody understood that he is Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. Upon seeing the transcendental Vaishnavism in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, everyone could understand that Lord Chaitanya was none other than Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj. Right? Just by this pastime. Correct? So this is the climax. Now we'll start. We'll go to 67 again. I mean, Chaitanya Charitamrita is very sweet. So, since Gaur Purnima is coming, just thought we can read something from here. Okay, we'll start. So now we are starting the session. So 5.5 we can read. Maybe what I can read the verse and then, or devotees can only read the verse. They can read the verse and then they can read the translation also. 5.5 we will do. Okay. Who, from where? Maybe we can start from here.
आरदिना गोपीनाथ प्रभु स्थाने गिया शयो थाना दर्शना करिला लयना. The next day, Gopinath Acharya took Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the early rising of Lord Jagannath. Mukunda datta loina aila sarvabhauma sthane sarvabhauma kichu tanre balila vachane. Gopinath Acharya then took Mukunda Datta with him and went to Sarvabhauma's house. When they arrived, Sarvabhauma addressed Mukunda Datta as follows. Aprakriti vinita sannyasi dekhite sundara amar bahu priti bade nihara upara. The sannyasi is very meek and humble by nature, and his person is very beautiful to see. Consequently, my affection for him increases.
We can skip the purport. We can go ahead. Actually, we can go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
कौन संप्रदाये संन्यास कर्या छेन गृहना किब नाम इंद्रा शुनीते हयमना. From which sampradaya has he accepted the sannyas order, and what is his name? Gopinath kahe naam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Indra Keshav Bharati Mahadhanya. Gopinath Acharya replied, the Lord's name is Shri Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and his sannyas preceptor is the greatly fortunate Keshav Bharati. Sarvabhauma kahe Indra nama sarvotama Bharati sampradaya inho hoina madhyama. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Shri Krishna is a very good name, but he belongs to the Bharati community. Therefore, he is a second-class sannyasi.
Yeah. So what we are seeing here is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is thinking he is a great Vaishnav. I mean, not great Vaishnav, but he is the greatest scholar. And he is seeing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas from Keshav Bharati. And the purport is also mentioned Puri Sampradaya, because he took initiation from Ishwarapuri and took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is telling that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will bring him to the highest level if once he hears Vedanta from me. Right? But then we will see that Gopinath Acharya will tell that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. What will you bring him to the highest level? In fact, he is doing mercy on his spiritual master by taking initiation. Right? And we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Krishna, but he is showing that how the mood of disciple should be. Right? He gets defeated by his spiritual master Ishwarapuri in one of the pastime. Right? Now, he is Krishna. How can he be defeated? Right? But he is showing that what a disciple should be. Right? Disciple should be meek and humble in front of his spiritual master. And he gets defeated by Ishwarapuri. Similarly, we see Srila Prabhupada. I mean, if we see Srila Prabhupada, what he has achieved, right? I mean, 108 temples. I mean, we can't even, it's hard to even build a 400 square feet house with complete, no mortgage. And he had 108 temples around the world in what, 7-8 years with no money. But he then says that I was defeated by my spiritual master, right? Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Why? Because Bhaktivedanta Thakur came, Srila Prabhupada went to him and he said that the most important thing is to free India from the clutches of Britishers. But then Bhaktivedanta Thakur says that no, higher than that is giving them Krishna Prem. Right? People are anyway suffer even after they get freed. And we are seeing, right? We are all freed. But we are still suffering. Right? But then that's why Bhaktivedanta Thakur said that they have to take up Krishna Prem. That is most important. And Srila Prabhupada says that I was defeated by my spiritual master. So here also Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking a humble position by accepting initiation from Ishwarapuri. But Gopinatha Acharya will say that he is greater than even you. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What will you raise his bar? Yeah, we'll see that. 73rd we are supposed to read now, right? Yeah, Prabhu, you want to read? Maybe Prabhu, you can read till 80, then we can have 5. Got confused with numbers. Mod of 5 is easy to remember.
गोपीनाथ कहे इहार नाही बाह्यापेक्षा अतैव बड़ा संप्रदायर नाही का अपेक्षा. Gopinath Acharya replied, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not rely on any external formality. There is no need for him to accept the sannyas order from a superior sampradaya.
'74. Yeah, thank you.
Bhattacharya kahe ihar prodha yovan kemate sannyasa dharma hai bherakshan. The Bhattacharya inquired, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in his full-fledged youthful life. How can he keep the principles of sannyas? Nirantara ke vedanta shunaiba vairagya advaita marge pravesha karaiba. I shall continually recite Vedanta philosophy before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so that he may remain fixed in his renunciation and thus enter upon the path of monism.
Yeah. So you can read till 80, Prabhu. You can read.
Kahe na yadi punarapi yoga pat diya samskar kariye uttama sampradaya niya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then suggested, if Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would like, I could bring him into a first-class sampradaya by offering him saffron cloth and performing the reformatory process again. Shuni Gopinath Mukund duhe dukhi haila Gopinath Acharya kichu kahite lagila. Gopinath Acharya and Mukundatta became very unhappy when they heard this. Gopinath Acharya therefore addressed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as follows. Bhattacharya tumi har najana mahima bhagavata lakshnera ihati sima. My dear Bhattacharya, you do not know the greatness of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are found in him to the highest degree.
Prabhu, Mataji will read that purport, 78. Sorry. It's an important purport.
Since the Bhattacharya was an impersonalist, he had no idea of the absolute truth beyond the impersonal effulgence. However, Gopinath Acharya informed him that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who know the absolute truth know it in 3 phases, as explained in Srimad-bhagavatam. Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. Those who are in knowledge of the non-dual absolute truth know very clearly what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, and what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Shad Aishwarya Purna, complete with 6 opulences. Gopinath Acharya emphasized that all those 6 opulences were completely existing in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tahate vikhyata iho parama ishwar agnya sthane kichu nahe vignera gochar. Gopinath Acharya continued, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is celebrated as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are ignorant in this connection find the conclusion of knowledgeable men very difficult to understand. Shishya Gana kahe Ishwar kaha kon pramane Acharya kahe vignamat Ishwar lakshane. The disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya retaliated. By what evidence do you conclude that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord?
Yeah, so now Gopinath Acharya got very angry after hearing what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying. He is saying, I know he might be great devotee and I will bring him to the level of highest sannyas. So as we discussed earlier, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gopinath Acharya gets angry, right? So he says that what will you bring? Right? He is already Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as he says he is Supreme Personality of Godhead and all the symptoms are of Supreme Personality of Godhead is in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says that just by saying like that, it doesn't work. You have to give the proof. Right? Nowadays, no proof is needed. If someone says that he is supreme, and people will start following. But during those times, it was not like that. It was all based on praman. And there are three kinds of praman. We will see that pratyaksha, anuman, and shabda. And Gopinatha Acharya says that you cannot understand Supreme Personality of Godhead by pratyaksha, by your senses. Why? Because senses are prone to mistakes, right? Anuman, you can't do any hypothesis. It's only by shabda. So here, disciples are asking that, give me the proof that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nowadays, everyone, if you see here, people just have different perceptions about God. So once I was doing book distribution, and one person had on his shirt that I used to be an atheist. So I saw that, okay, used to, now he's normal. But when he crossed, it was, in back of the shirt was written that, till I understood that I am God. Right? People have different conceptions. For some, God is gas, oil, defense. For some, it is that note, in God we trust, that dollar note. Have you heard about a religion called Judaism? New religion? Huh? Judaism. You know, it is based on what? See, people are aware. There is a religion based on Star Wars. Judaism. People, that's, you can understand the advent of Kali-yuga just through this. Imagine, there are philosophies. There is if you Google, you will also see Google of God. And there are 10 commandments also. There is a religion on Google. And there are 10 commandments also you will search. So that is the height of Kali-yuga. People have different perceptions, right? So here, that's why the disciples of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying that, hey, you are saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but we need proof. Give us the proof, right? So we'll see now what he has to say. I can read the purport quickly. Ajay, can we go up? No, only that much part. Gopinatha Acharya replied the state. Prabhu, you read this part? You can read that part also, in the first line of the purport, and then someone else can read from 81.
Since the appearance of
Gopinath Acharya.
Oh, Gopinath. Gopinath Acharya replied, the statements of authorized Acharyas who understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are proof.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So you want to read from 81, we can start. 81 to 85. Now it's mod 5, so we will all understand where to stop.
शिष्य कहे ईश्वर तत्व साधी अनुमाने आचार्य कहे अनुमाने नहीं ईश्वर जाने. The disciples of Bhattacharya said, we derive knowledge of the absolute truth by logical hypothesis.
Right, he is saying that logical hypothesis, that's what disciples of Bhattacharya said. But then go ahead, Mataji. Sorry, it's mentioned, I thought it's missed. No, go up. Mataji, purport is there.
Gopinatha Acharya replied, one cannot attain real knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such logical hypothesis and argument.
Yeah, we can go down, Mataji, now next verse.
अनुमान प्रमाणे नहे ईश्वर तत्व जाने कृपा विना ईश्वरेरा कहे नहीं जाने. Gopinath Acharya continued, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by his mercy, not by guesswork or hypothesis.
Yeah, so here he is saying that you cannot understand by pratyaksha or by anuman, only by shabda, only by his mercy. Right, only by Supreme Personality of Godhead's mercy. We see that Jagaya Madai, why he got delivered, they got delivered because of the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So here he is saying the same thing. Gopinath Acharya is saying that it's because of Lord's mercy, not by guesswork or hypothesis. Yeah, so you can go ahead.
ईश्वरेर कृपालेश हयाताया हारे seita Ishvara tattva jani bare pare. The Acharya continued, if one receives but a tiny bit of the Lord's favor by dint of devotional service, he can understand the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. अथापि ते देव पद्मभुजद्वय प्रसादले संगृहीत एव हि जानति तत्त्वं भगवान् महिम्नो न चान्य एकोऽपि चिरं विचिन्वन्. My Lord is, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate in order to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. यद्यपि जगद गुरु तुमी शास्त्र ज्ञानवान पृथ्वी वीते नाही पंडित तोमार समवान ईश्वरेर कृपालेश नाही कतो माते अतएव ईश्वर तत्व ना पर जानीते. Gopinath Acharya then addressed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you are a great scholar and a teacher of many disciples. Indeed, there is no other scholar like you on earth. Nonetheless, because you are bereft of even a pinch of the Lord's mercy, you cannot understand him, even though he is present in your home.
Yeah, see, we can have our own plans, but still, we were thinking that Mataji will read till 85, but it combined only that verse. That's what here also Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying. That you can think whatever you want, but you have to understand Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So there are 4 kinds of Brahmavadis. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-bhagavatam. So first kind of Brahmavadis are who are like Mayavadis. They consider Krishna as just ordinary living entity, and they think they will also become God. And it is mentioned that they will, that's a completely being offensive to Krishna. So there are 4 kinds, 2 are offensive and 2 are non-offensive. So this kind of people who are Mayavadis, it is completely offensive. Then another kind of Brahmavadis are, they do not practice bhakti, they depend on jnana. And what they want to reach is the level of Brahma Jyoti. That is their aim. And Ayur Krishna Param Padam Tata, it's mentioned in Srimad-bhagavatam, but at the end they will fall down. Because they have not taken little bit of bhakti. You need to take little bit of bhakti at least, to at least reach Brahman also. So there is a second type of who have not taken bhakti, but they are completely depending on jnana. Third type of people are who have taken little bit of bhakti, but their aim of taking bhakti is to reach Brahma Jyoti. They are not, so they are like people, akama sarva kama moksha kama udari, tivrina bhakti yoga na yajida parishram. So for them it is, Krishna can give akama sarva kama moksha kama udari. Okay, let's take moksha only then. These are this kind of people. Third. And fourth kind of Brahmavadis are the people who were Brahman realized, but because of the mercy of Krishna, now they have taken up Krishna consciousness. They have become completely Krishna conscious. These are people like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya or 4 Kumaras, Shukadeva Goswami, right? So these are the people who have taken up, they were Brahmavadis, but now they have become pure bhaktas. They have taken up Krishna's shelter. It is a very beautiful verse. I think it is in, actually, can we go to 3rd canto? In the next tab. This is by prayers. Actually, it is, 3:15:43. It is there. These are the prayers by 4 Kumaras. So what happens is, they were Brahman realized, but then they approached Vishnu for some work, but suddenly they were able to smell the tulsi aroma, which was at the feet of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. And then their heart transformed. Same, like how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, after hearing from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his heart transformed. So it's like that in Srimad-bhagavatam. It's a beautiful verse. Tasya Ravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Nasya Padaravinda Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antargatah swavivarena chakartesham. Chakartesham. Sankshobham aksharajusham pichitta tanvo. Sankshobham. There was agitation. As soon as they, in the nostrils, that aroma went of the tulsi leaves, which was touching the lotus feet of Krishna. So and their heart transformed. Can we go down to the translation? When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of lotus feet of personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of those sages, we're talking about the 4 Kumaras, they experienced a change both in the body and in mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Right? So these are 4 kinds of, this is the 4th kind. They were first attached to impersonal Brahman, but later on they took up shelter just because of the mercy of Lord Vishnu. Yeah, actually we can go to the previous one again. Yeah, so here another thing that Gopinatha Acharya is saying that you cannot understand Krishna by speculation. You need Lord's mercy, right? You cannot understand. Brahma also prays something similar to Krishna. I mean, Brahma, if you see, in fact, Gopinatha Acharya is Brahma. Brahma came as Gopinatha Acharya in Gaur Lila. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is Brihaspati. So, now who is Brahma? Brahma has 4 heads. I mean, right? If one head, we have so much knowledge, imagine 4 heads. He was taught Vedas by Krishna himself. Correct? But then he also got bewildered in Brahma-Vyomana Leela. Right? Brahma, who was taught by Krishna about Vedic scriptures, even he got bewildered in Brahma-Vyomana Leela. And then he sings a very beautiful poem. It is in 10th canto. Mataji, can you go to 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 38? 10, 14, 38. He says similar thing to Krishna, that we cannot understand by speculation. Yeah, this one. Jananta eva janantu kim bahuktya name prabhu name manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tavo gochara. Yeah. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. You go for book distribution and you will, when you ask, have you heard about Bhagavad Gita? I have been reading Bhagavad Gita from childhood. I mean, keeping Bhagavad Gita, sorry. Keeping Bhagavad Gita from childhood. Which chapter is your favorite? Chapter 19th. Right? I mean, they'll always say like this. So here Brahma is saying, there are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. Brahma is saying, who has heard Vedas from Krishna himself. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. He is also humbled. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body and words. Manaso, Vacha. I mean, I cannot understand. Gopinatha Acharya is also saying same thing to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. You cannot understand this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot understand him just by speculation. We will go back 87. Yeah, 87, yeah. In the Sugar Prabhu, you want to read?
तोमारा नहीं का दोसा शास्त्र यही का है पंडित्यादे ईश्वर तत्व जाना कभू ना है. It is not your fault. It is the verdict of the scriptures. You cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by scholarship. सर्वभौम काहे आचार्य कह सावधाने तोमा ते ईश्वर कृपा इति के इथे की प्रमाणे. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, My dear Gopinatha Acharya, please speak with great care. What is the proof that you have received the mercy of the Lord? Acharya kahe vastu visaye haya vastu jana vastu tattva jana haya kripate pramana. Gopinatha Acharya replied, Knowledge of the Saman-Bhaman, the absolute truth, is evidence of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Inhara sarire sabha Isvara lakshana Mahaprema vesha Tumi pancha darshana. Gopinath Acharya continued, you have seen the symptoms of Supreme Personality of Godhead in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his absorption in an ecstatic mood.
Yeah. So here, now Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is getting little, he felt insulted. When someone is telling you that you're not able to understand Krishna because you don't have the mercy. Indirectly, I have understood Krishna because I have the mercy. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, hey, you are saying like this, you have the mercy. So Gopinath is saying, yes, because I have understood Krishna, so I can say that I have the mercy. Right? Like that he is saying here. So now both little bit heated argument is happening now. And at one place, I don't know whether we will be reaching that section. At one place, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya will say that, hey, calm down, man, we are just discussing. Just discussing. Don't get so agitated. But Gopinath Acharya is getting agitated. Why? Because I forgot for a second that we are online. Gopinath Acharya is getting agitated. Why? Because he's insulting Krishna, right? By saying that he's just an ordinary devotee, right? So that's why Gopinath Acharya is getting angry and angry. We'll see Mukunda Datta also at one point if we reach there. Okay, 91. Now we'll see misjudgment. We'll discuss that.
Okay. Tabuta Ishvara Gnanaha Hayato Mara Ishvarera Maya E Balivyavahara. Despite directly perceiving the symptoms of the Supreme Lord in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you cannot understand him. This is commonly called illusion.
Okay, we'll read that purport. Sorry.
Purport. Gopinath Acharya is pointing out that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had already seen uncommon symptoms of ecstasy in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These uncommon symptoms of ecstatic love indicated the Supreme Person, but despite having seen all these symptoms, the Bhattacharya could not understand the Lord's transcendental nature. He was considering the Lord's pastimes to be mundane. This was certainly due to illusion. Deke lena deke tare bahirmukha jana suni hasi sarvabhauma balila vachana. A person influenced by the external energy is called bahirmukha jana, a mundane person, because despite his perception, he cannot understand the real substance. Hearing Gopinath Acharya say this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya smiled and began to speak as follows.
We'll go down.
Ista gosti vichara kari na kari harosa shastra drishti kahi kichu na laiha dosa. Bhattacharya said, we are just having a discussion among friends and considering the points described in the scriptures. Do not become angry. I am simply speaking on the strength of the Shastras. Please don't take any offense. Mahabhagavatahaya Chaitanya Goshani Ekali Kale Vishnura Avataranayi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is certainly a great uncommon devotee. But we cannot accept him as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu because, according to Shastra, there is no incarnation in this age of Kali. Ateva Tri-yuga Kari Kahi Vishnu Nama Kali Yuge Avataranahi Shastragnana. Another name for Lord Vishnu is Tri-yuga because there is no incarnation of Lord Vishnu in Kali Yuga. Indeed, this is the verdict of the revealed scriptures.
Yeah. So, first is in the 85th verse, 91st verse, there is a mention where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, Gopinath Acharya is telling to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that you saw in Jagannath temple, he was completely in ecstasy as soon as he saw Jagannath. He fainted. You saw that he is so much effulgent. Still you are saying that he is not Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So there he gets very angry. He gets very angry. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says that, hey, don't take so much, don't become so angry. We are just discussing. We are discussing based on Shastras. Don't become so angry. So here, Gopinath Acharya is telling Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that you have misjudged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But according to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he is just a devotee. He could not understand that emotional ecstasy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through, right? And we see that in various places that people getting misjudged, right? Sometimes we are getting misjudged by someone else. And more than that, we misjudge someone else. Correct? Krishna was misjudged. There's a pastime in Srimad-bhagavatam. Can you think of where Krishna was misjudged? In Dwarka, it's in 10th canto. I mean, not Dwarka, but Shamantaka jewel. Everybody said that he has stolen the Shamantaka jewel, right? Imagine he's Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's Makhan Chor, not Shamantaka jewel. Sure, right? So, but everybody said that he has stolen the Shamantaka jewel. So there he was misjudged. Yes. Yeah, that is another one. So, yeah. So next is there are devotees also who get no, actually it was no, Jambavan. Yeah, Jambavan, he takes from Jambavan and then he marries Jambavati, Satyajit. Yeah. Correct. Correct, from Jambavan. And then he marries Jambavati. Correct. He stole the Shamantaka jewel. Yes. So we see there Krishna getting misjudged, right? Devotees get misjudged also. Ambarish Maharaj get misjudged by Durvasa Muni, right? He was thinking that what should he do because Durvasa Muni has come. So whether he should have little bit of water to break the fast or he should first serve Durvasa Muni, right? And then he was told by his teacher that you can have drink water because then it's neither breaking the fast nor so he does that and Durvasa Muni misjudges him, right? And then he gets so angry that he tries to send a demon, but then Krishna gets angry and Krishna then sends Sudarshan Chakra, right? So we see devotees also getting misjudged. And here also in various places, pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or even devotees getting misjudged. One pastime is this itself. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is misjudging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? Because of philosophical deficiency. Correct? There's another pastime in Antya Leela, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reaches Vrindavan, all the citizens of Vrindavan, they come to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they say that we have seen Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and there are big diamonds also on the hoods of Kaliya, and we have seen Krishna there dancing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled internally that yeah, he is Krishna, he has come here, but they are thinking some other Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. And then Balabhadra says that hey, mere ko bhi jana hai. I also want to go. I want to see that Krishna who is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu slaps in a good way to Balabhadra and says, you sit down. And then Balabhadra Bhattacharya says that I have to go. And then after some time, some days, the citizens of Vrindavan, they come again and they say, oh, that was not Krishna, that was a fisherman. And that boat we thought of as a Kaliya. And that torch he was putting, we thought of it as the diamonds, the hoods of the Kaliya. And fisherman as Krishna. But actually he was fisherman. So there also, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he misjudged the entire situation. And that was because of informational deficiency, right? Informational deficiency. He didn't have proper information about that place. He just heard something, and based on that, he made a judgment, right? Then we have another pastime of Pradyumna Mishra. Pradyumna Mishra misjudged whom? He misjudged Ramananda Rai, right? So Pradyumna Mishra wanted to hear Srimad-bhagavatam or Krishna Katha from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this, what you want to hear from me? There's Ramananda Rai, you should hear from him. He's a great Vaishnava. So he goes to Ramananda Rai, and there is a pastime described that he was in solitary with two girls, but he was actually teaching them the drama for Jagannath. But he misjudged him. And he came back. And then he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I saw something else. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have misjudged Ramananda Rai, is great Vaishnava. He was actually teaching them drama. And that was because of expectational deficiency. He thought that a Vaishnava should be like this only. Right? And that's where... Vaishya Prabhu says that you get extra points if you speak in mic. I already lost some points, Prabhu.
So I think it was Hruday Chaitanya or his spiritual master. So what happened was, so he was in a very opulent situation, but he didn't realize that he's a great devotee of Krishna. So some of the devotees, they thought that he's just a sense gratifier, and he's enjoying all these opulence, material opulence. He's not a devotee of Krishna, and then they left him. So I think it was Hruday Chaitanya or some... Okay. This is in Kalna. Okay. This is in Ambika Kalna.
Thank you, Prabhu. There's another one of Ramachandra Puri. So Ramachandra Puri, what he used to do is he used to invite devotees at his house, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and used to feed them. And they used to say, no, I can't eat more. And they used to say, no, eat more, eat nicely. And after they have left, Ramachandra Puri used to say that, oh, these guys eat so much. Right? So first he used to feed them, and then a lot, and then he used to say that these guys eat so much. Right? Sometimes we go to someone's house, we want to eat more, but we think, hey, this guy will think that I eat so much, and we control our appetite. So like that, Ramachandra Puri, first he feeds them nicely, and then he says that these guys are eating too much. Right? So this is because of the internal fault finding. Right? So this is internal deficiency. So like this, there are different deficiencies because of which we might misjudge a person. Right? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was because of philosophical deficiency. And then Balabhadra Bhattacharya because of informational deficiency. Then Pradyumna Mishra because of expectational deficiency. And finally, Ramachandra Puri because of internal deficiency. Fault finding. Yeah. So here, same thing. Gopinatha Acharya is saying to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that you have misjudged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have misjudged him. That's because of your philosophical deficiency. You have not understood the Shastras very well. Okay, we are supposed to read till 117 verse. That's where the Samvad is getting over. But it's race against time. So let's see. I mean, there's no hurry. It will be homework then. Yeah.
Sunya Acharya kahe dukhi hane mane sastra jana karina tume kare abhi hamane. Upon hearing this, Gopinatha Acharya became very unhappy. He said to Bhattacharya, you consider yourself the knower of all Vedic scriptures.
We can go down, Mataji.
Bhagavata Bharata Dui Sastrera Pradhana Sui Dui Ganatha Va Kaye Nahi Avadahana. Srimad-bhagavatam and the Mahabharata are the two most important Vedic scriptures, but you have paid no attention to their statements. Sui Dui Kahe Kalite Saksat Avatara Tumikara Kalite Nahi Vishnura Prachara. In Srimad-bhagavatam and the Mahabharata, it is stated that the Lord appears directly, but you say that in this age there is no manifestation or incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Kali Yugli Avatara Na Kare Bhagavan Ateva Tri-yuga Kari Kahe Tara Nama. In this age of Kali, there is no Leela Avatara of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is known as Tri-yuga. That is one of his holy names.
Yeah, maybe you can read this 100th, and then I missed one purport. It was an important purport. We'll read that. We can read this after that.
This translation. Parit Yuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nistra Hridayaya Tomara Nahika Vikara. Gopinatha Acharya Continued, there is certainly an incarnation in every age, and such an incarnation is called the Yuga Avatara. But your heart has become so hardened by logic and argument that you cannot consider all these facts.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So here we is saying that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because he thinks that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not the supreme, and then Gopinatha Acharya is explaining him, because he thinks that is a Tri-yuga, only in 3 yugas, and then Gopinatha Acharya is explaining him that he also comes in Kali Yuga. And we see that, that's why I was searching for that verse in the purport. Anji, can we go to 95th? We will come back to text 101. I'll quickly read the 95th verse. There Prahlad Maharaj says that how Krishna comes in Kali Yuga. Then we'll again resume from 101. Yeah, I'll just read the Sanskrit and verse, Bengali. Ataiva Tri-yuga kari kahi Vishnu naam Kali Yuga avatari nahi Shastra Gyan. Another name for Lord Vishnu is Tri-yuga because there is no incarnation of Lord Vishnu in Kali Yuga. Indeed, this is the verdict of revealed scriptures. So this is what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying. In purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that where is... So Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is known as Tri-yuga, which means that he is manifest in 3 yugas. However, this means that in the age of Kali, the Lord appears not directly but in disguise. And where it's mentioned Tri-yuga, he says in Vishnu Sahasranam. But here Srila Prabhupada is saying he is coming in disguise. This is confirmed in Srimad-bhagavatam 7.9.38. Itham nritiryak rishideva jashavatarer lokan vibhavayasi hamsi jagat pratipan dharmam mahapurushapas pasi yuganuvrittam channa kalau yadabhavastri yugota sattvam channa kalau. So, Prahlad Maharaj prayers is this. My Lord, you kill all the enemies. This Prahlad Maharaj is saying. My Lord, you kill all the enemies in the world in your multifarious incarnations in the families of men, animals, demigods, rishis, aquatics and so on. Thus you illuminate the worlds with transcendental knowledge. In the age of Kali, O Mahapurush, you sometimes appear in a covered incarnation. Right? So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Channa Kalau. In Kali Yuga, you are coming as Channa Avatar. Therefore, you are known as Tri-yuga, one who appears in only 3 yugas. And we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not coming as Krishna. He is coming as Krishna Chaitanya, devotee of Krishna. Right? In the form of Srimati Radharani. So that mood he is taking. And that's why at various places when he is still told, in fact in 81st only, where we read, right, 280th verse, where everyone was saying that you are Krishna. He said, hey, no, Hari, I am not Krishna. Because although he is Krishna himself, but he has taken the mood of a devotee. So, Channa Kalau. Sridhar Swami has also verified the Lord Vishnu appears in the age of Kali, but does not act as he does in other ages. Lord Vishnu incarnates for 2 purposes, Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Dushkritam. That is, he comes to engage in pastimes with his devotees and to annihilate the demons. These purposes are visible in the Satya, Treta and Dwapar Yugas, but in Kali Yuga, the Lord appears disguised. He does not directly kill any demons and give protection to the faithful. Because the Lord is not directly perceived in Kali Yuga, but is directly known in other 3 yugas. His name is Tri-yuga. Right? And then, if you see here, Gopinatha Acharya is using Srimad-bhagavatam to put his case. Right? In Tattva Sandarbha, it is similar thing. Jiva Goswami explains why Srimad-bhagavatam is the topmost scripture. So first he says is, the 3 ways to understand Krishna. There are 3 ways in general of philosophy, which is Pratyaksha, then Anuman and Shabda. And he explains that why Pratyaksha and Anuman cannot be understood. We cannot understand Krishna by this. What is remaining? Shabda. So now Shabda, if you have to understand, then which Shabda? There are so many different Shabdas, right? As we discussed Jainism, and so many are there. Which one to believe? So then, Jiva Goswami explains that why Vedic scriptures is the topmost. So from Vedic scriptures, then he explains that why Puranas are the topmost. Right? Puranas are the topmost because he explains, and then he says that Puranas comes from the word Purna. So then he explains that why Puranas are the topmost. From Puranas, now there are different kinds of Puranas. Shiv Purana and so many different, Devi Puranas, so many Puranas are there. Now which Purana to accept? Then they explain that Puranas are in different modes. And then Sattva Gun, the top 6 Puranas are in Sattva Gun, and we should hear from those Puranas. But there are 6 Puranas. From that which Purana? Finally he reaches to Srimad-bhagavatam. And why only Srimad-bhagavatam? He explains that Srimad-bhagavatam talks about bhakti throughout the entire scripture. And that is why that Bhagavat Puran we should hear, because it explains bhakti throughout the entire scripture. At the start itself, Save Pumsam Paradharma Yato Bhakti Radokshashe, Ai Tukiya Pratyata Yatma Suprasiddhati. At the end also, Nama Sankirtana. And even in every Falashruti in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all about devotion. Right? And also in every pastime also, the mood of devotion is mentioned. And so, Jiva Goswami that way he concludes that Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost scripture. So till 100th verse, that's what we read. Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll go to the 101st verse. Maybe someone else can now, yeah. That row got missing. Mataji, you want to, or Prabhu, you can read, any one of you.
Asan varnas trayo hiyasaya granato nu yugam tanu suklu raktas tata pita idanum krishnatam Katha.
Haribol!
Yay! In the past, your son has had bodies of 3 different colors according to the age. These colors were white, red, and yellow. In this age, the Dvapara Yuga, he has accepted a blackish body. Iti Dvapara Urvisa Stuvanti Jagad Isvaram Nana Tantra Vidhanina Kalav Api Tatashrinu. In the age of Kali, as well as Dvapara Yuga, the people offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by various mantras and observe the regulative principles of the supplementary Vedic literatures. Now please hear this from me.
Yeah, this is the very important verse. We'll stop here after this verse and we'll hear little reflections and then we can. Okay.
Krishna Varnam Dvisva Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parsadam Yanya Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hisu Medhasa. In this age of Kali, those who are intelligent perform the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in this age always describing the glories of Krishna. That incarnation is yellowish in hue and is always associated with his plenary expansions, such as Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and personal expansions such as Gadadhara, as well as his devotees and associates such as Sri Vapu Damodara.
Yeah, Swarup Damodar. Thank you, Prabhu. So we see here Gopinatha Acharya is giving one by one proofs from various scriptures that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. And next verse also. So can we go to the next verse? Quickly, I'll just... yeah, here also if you Swarna, Varno, Hemango, right? Here also again the proof is there that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. And Gaur Purnima is coming. So if in case, just in case you don't have Chaitanya Charitamrit at your home, which can effulgent the entire home and entire Bay Area as well, please consider taking it. It's a great literature, and the beauty is, in today's world, what is Vaishnava relationships? What it really means, Vaishnava relationships. Very nicely it is explained here in Chaitanya Charitamrit. And with stories and also deep philosophy. We see it was all story, right? But there's deep philosophy. And when we go ahead in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we'll see even more deeper philosophies. But it's all nicely presented along with beautiful stories, and especially the relationship between Vaishnavas. It's very sweet. So if in case you don't have, you can please accept Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can contact any one of the devotees. They will be more than eager to give. Kautukan Prabhu, Akshay Prabhu, Hindu Shekhar Prabhu, Tim Prabhu. So yeah, we'll stop here. If anyone wants to share any reflection, whatever they heard, something they want to share. Yes, thank you.
Prabhu, I have a quick question. Here, I'm amazed that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, being a very learned scholar in Puranas and Shastras and the Vedas, and he was saying the Lord is a Tri-yuga, is only coming in 3 yugas. But if you read, the Puranas, it's very clearly stated that the Lord is coming in Kali Yuga. There is no direct mention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but there is a direct mention of Kalki Avatar. And I was wondering, how did he miss such an important piece of information, and he is making a statement that the Lord will only appear in 3 yugas?
Yeah, Prabhu. So in Sahasranam also it is mentioned he is considered as Tri-yuga. And if you see in one of the verses it is mentioned. See, I'm losing points. So in Vishnu Sahasranam it is mentioned as Tri-yuga. And you will always see some level of contradictions. You might see some level of contradictions in scriptures, even between commentaries of different Vaishnavas. And based on your own understanding, speculation, we might have created some conclusions. But that is why in Srimad-bhagavatam there might be some contradictions, but consistently the focus is very clear. That is bhakti to Krishna, right? So Paribhasha Sutra we have in Srimad-bhagavatam. Why? Because it is acting as an anchor. If there is any contradiction, we should take Paribhasha Sutra as anchor to understand the entire philosophy, right? But why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was having his own understanding was because of, that's what Gopinatha Acharya told him, that because your heart is hard-hearted. So if heart is hard-hearted, it is very difficult to understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot grow crops if the land is barren. So it has to be extremely fertile. I'm not a good gardener, but it's like basics of gardening. So same thing. That's what Gopinatha Acharya tells him. Your heart is hard-hearted. That's why you're not able to understand Krishna. And that's why then there is a discussion between Srila Prabhupada and one of the teacher in I'm forgetting the book, the blue book. Science of Soul, my favorite book. I forgot the name. Sometimes, just in that there is a discussion, and Srila Prabhupada is explaining why Nam Sankirtan is topmost, and he is giving various proofs. And that professor is explaining why Nam Sankirtan is not the topmost. Right? So he is also right based on his quoting of the Shastras. Right? But then one has to understand the Paribhasha Sutra, the topmost Bhagavatam philosophy, because that is the topmost scripture. That's what Jiva Goswami is able to give the proof in Tattva Sandarbha. And obviously the heart should be soft to understand that. Yes, Mataji, thank you. So that's why. I was about to ask if Manjulakanta Mataji wants to give any.
No, thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice lecture. I was just wondering, it struck me as an analogy that when we go to the court and we want to argue our case, if we find a good lawyer, then the truth hides. But the truth is always the truth.
Yeah.
I may get away with killing somebody because my lawyer was very good. Yeah. So I might find Shastra here and there and try to argue my way around and prove God doesn't exist. But the truth shines brighter than everything else. Yeah. Wow. You can hide it for a little bit, but the truth is that bhakti is supreme. Yeah. And the Bhagavatam will always give you the answers. So I just wanted to give an example that might help.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. The effulgence also, right? Although Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a Mayavad philosopher, but he could not stop himself from seeing that effulgence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? That effulgence was so, that Mataji said, right? And same in Srimad-bhagavatam also is mentioned. In this age of Kali, Srimad-bhagavatam will come as the most effulgent scripture. So, yeah, thank you. One more, if someone wants to say, and then we can stop. One more reflection or question of whatever we heard.
I like the example you gave about Brahma. He has 4 heads, we only have 1 head. So even after having so much intelligence, he cannot appreciate Krishna. He cannot understand Krishna, as you gave the reference from Bhagavatam. He shows his inability to understand Krishna. So it is only by mercy of Krishna that one can understand and appreciate Krishna. Even after reading so many literatures, unless Krishna gives the intelligence from within, we cannot appreciate him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that point.
Thank you. When you said again, I was just thinking, just meditating on that. It's so important that we read Shastras, Srimad-bhagavatam, Chaitanya, Chaitanya, especially along with some Vaishnav. So, yeah. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
His Grace Acyuta Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad-bhagavatam ki jai. Chaitanya Chaitamrit ki jai. Thank you for patiently listening. Hare Krishna.
Namasreshtam manumapi sachiputram atra swarupam Sri Rupam Tasyagracham Urupurim Madhurim Goshtavitim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Krupaya Sri Gurum Tam Nadosmi He Guru Jnana Dina Bhando Swananda Dhata Karunaika Sindho Vrindavanishina Hitavataram Prasida Radha Pranaya Pracharam He Dina Bhando Karunaika Sindho Kuru Prasadam Mayi Mandamode Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Astu Matischa Krishnam. I bow down to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Swarupa Damodara, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Madhura, the blissful abode of Vrindavana, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhana Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavana. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavana, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudeva, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and the master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padmam Kevala Bhakati Sadmaham. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Bandamo Isavadana Mate Savadana Mate Yahara Prasade Bhai E Bhavatoriya Jai Prasade Bhai E Bhavatoriya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoi Jaha Hoite Prapti Hoi Jaha Hoite Krishna Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chita Te Koriya Aikyaham Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chita Te Koriya Aikyaham Arna Kori Ho Mane Asam Ne Asam Sri Guru Charane Rati Yei Se Bhutama Gati Charane Rati Yei Se Bhutama Gati Je Prasade Pure Sarva Asam Pure Sarva Asam Chakudana Dilo Jai Janma Janme Prabhu Sai Divya Jnana Hrude Prakashito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate Vedagai Jahara Charito Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanada Loke Rajivana Lokanada Loke Rajivana aha prabhu koro doya deho more pada chaya aha prabhu koro doya deho more pada chaya deho more pada chaya eve jasha gushuk tribhuvana eve jasha gushuk tribhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindang Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtadasha Srimad Abhay Charanaravindha Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jevam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtadasha Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Madhura Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki, Jamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any announcements, Prabhu? Prasadam books today. Kautukarna, Prabhu, any announcements?
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming today for the morning session. Anyone here new for the first time in this temple? Hi. So after the program, we'll have the prasadam right now. And feel free to talk to any of the volunteers here, Prabhuji who sang the song, or talk to me or anybody here. And we'll try our best to accommodate your needs and answer any questions that you may have here. So welcome everyone again, and thank you again for joining the morning program. So if there are no other announcements, we can go for the prasadam. So, yeah, so we need a couple of volunteers to help with setting up the table. So we can set the table in this gallery behind this window. Yeah, so just a couple of people, please help me in the kitchen. And who can do the prasadam? Cooks, I was the one with my friends there, that's all. You can do the prasadam prayer.
Hare Krishna. So we are going for book distribution today. We have multiple spots all over Bay Area. There are teams going to SF. We have a Chinese New Year parade in Chinatown for the celebration of New Year. We are going to distribute a lot of Chinese books there. So it will be a lot of fun. You can join us there. We have teams going to Santa Cruz. Contact Akshay Prabhu. He's there behind. Raise your hand. Okay. If you want to go to Santa Cruz. For SF, you can contact me. There is a team going to Mayur Woods. Also, Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu is going there. And then we'll have some local teams in Indian stores. So please join us. You can also take a CC set, as it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthday. So, yeah, and that is the announcements from Sankirtan. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we'll have the Prasadam prayers now. Sharira Vidyajal Jodendriya Tahekar Jibe Pele Bishaya Sagore Tar Madhe Jibayati Lobho Moi Sudurmati Take Jeta Kathina Samsare Krishna Bodo Doyamoy Kori Bare Jibhajay Swaprasadana Dilobha Seyanamrita Pao Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nita Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nita Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate Prasade Sarva Dukkhanam Hanirasya Upajayate Prasanna Chetaso Hi Ashu Buddhi Paryavatishtate Tavyopabhukta Sragganda वासोलंकार चर्चिता उच्छिष्ट भोजिनो दासस्तव मायम जयमहि। भगवत श्री महाप्रसादम की जय। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल। Please come and take prasadam. Hari Hari Bol.